Good afternoon, Shah sir.
One good move makes
afternoon.
all the difference. The best way to predict future is to create it. Take a move. Create a future. Join Shobit University.
As a young citizen of India, armed with technology, knowledge, and love for my nation, with a vision of transforming India into a developed nation, I'm joining Shobit University. What about you?
Yeah, please start.
Honorable Professor Ranjit Singh, Vice Chancellor, Shobit University, Gango. Respected Professor Mohipal Singh, Registered Shobit University, Gango. Today's keynote speaker, respected Dr. Biswajit Saha, Director, CBSE. All director, deans, head, all faculty members and participants. A very good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of Shobit University, Gango, I take this opportunity to welcome today's keynote speaker, Dr. Biswajit Saha sir, my co-panelist, Professor Madan Kaushik, all our faculty members and participants to this webinar on extremely relevant topics of the times, the new education policy 2020. The policy is aimed at transforming the Indian educational system to meet the needs of 21st century. The new policy seeks the rectification of poor literacy and numeracy outcomes associated with the primary school, reduction in dropout level in middle and secondary school, and adoption of multidisciplinary approach in the higher education system. Apart from this policy also focuses on early childhood care, restructuring curriculum and pedagogy, reforming assessment and exams, and investing in teachers training. Through NEP 2020 seeks to bring a holistic change in education system of India. Its success depends on the will and way in which it will be implemented. Today, we have privilege to have with us Dr. Biswajit Saha, Director CBSE, who shall be reflecting on the theme of the webinar. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce today's keynote speaker, Dr. Biswajit Saha sir. Dr. Saha is Director, Training and Skill Education in CBSE New Delhi. He manages the work of skill curriculum design, development of student resource book and training manual, monitoring the execution of various teachers training program by 16 CBCSE Center of Excellence. He also represents the CBSE in various national and international committee. Prior to joining CBSE in 2011, Dr. Saha was faculty member and HOD at Government Engineering College, Agartala. He served as OSD in Technical Education, Government of Tripura, worked with Tripura Central University in various capacities. Dr. Saha handled execution of various development projects of World Bank, AICT and UGC. He had actively participated in drafting of National Vocational Educational Qualification Framework and National Skill Qualification Framework notified by MHRD and MSDE in 2012 and 2013 respectively. He drives promotion of future skill in school with strong industry association and oversee digital education movement under Vidya Dan at Diksha. Dr. Shah now will be sharing his views on equitability and inclusive education, efficient resourcing and effective governance. Now I would like to invite Dr. Shah to address the gathering. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ghosh. Respected Vice Chancellor of the Shobit University, other senior dignitaries, all faculty members, and of course, participants who have joined us virtually. I think this is, of course, a new normal through which we are now connected with entire country and rather entire globe. So that's the power of technology. I think new national education policy try to give the recommendations how we can utilize the power of technology one way, and of course the today's theme, that equity issue or equitable issue, was rather stress upon holistically. I'm intentionally using these words because this will help us to have the discussions in a meaningful way. So first of all, thanks to Soviet University for inviting me. And now in many forums and various higher educational institute, regulator, state government, union governments, we are trying to sensitize on NEP 202. At the same time, we need to understand, because now it is time, because already the new financial year has already started, means from the 1st April, it's nothing new. So all these budgetary provisions at central level and state level, I think the people are thinking how NEP is going to implemented in the state, how NEP would be implemented in individual university, individual schools, and how parents communities are taking. So all those issues are very much crucial in the journey of equity. So first and foremost aspects which I would like to address here, that is, of course, there could be nationwide controversy, but again, I'm trying to stress this issue. This is highly essential, that is the linguistic requirement. And especially state like Uttar Pradesh, where the maximum peoples are from the Hindi belt. What about the pattern of school education and pattern of higher education? So I am happy that beyond NEP 2020, the budget, union budget has also reflect on translation activities, and at national level, universities are going to set up to look into these aspects. So here comes the first agenda, that linguistic requirement of the state peoples need to be addressed. The way we think and the way we speak need to be introspect with reference to the learning curve generated by each and every student. So here, our agenda is how to create that roadmap. So vision has been given by NEP. So until 2025, this is one agenda, and 2030, another agenda. Now, accordingly, month-wise or year-wise, we need to focus upon the roadmap. And that way, if we can strategize, so first of all, NEP talks about the early childhood educations. Now, completely unregulated sector till date. Only the Ministry of Women and Child Development, that all this rural India and urban India, the mothers are being provided with nutritious food, and thereafter the child growth are being mapped with reference to different activities and as per their protocol. So here the early childhood educations is thought of bringing them in an equitable space so that the brain development and is equated with the nation's development index. So here, I think first and foremost, whether it is a university or school or even Anganwadi Kendra, so there how we can promote activity-based education. So that would be our foundations on early childhood educations. And through these activities or kind of rural gamifications, because there are so many ancient techniques we have forgotten so far, and through that counting mechanism, because at this particular age, our basic requirement is to understand the language, be it Hindi or be it any other localized languages. So it is not restricted to Uttar Pradesh, it could be any part of the country. So understanding the mother tongue at this crucial age is very important, so that instructions given by the mother, grandmother or grandfather or local community peoples, relatives. So that understanding is first and foremost. Second is in reference to our numeracy skill. So one is literary skills, foundational literacy, and numeracy skills. So there, what kind of activities we can plan through a game also it is possible. I think my humble request to the eminent professors of this university, other faculty members, you can work upon with your neighborhood school so that the basic understanding of local games and sports and other activity, even that ancient proverb culture. So through that, can we mechanize certain activity which is easily doable in the school under parental supervisions? Because overnight, the number of teachers in Anganwadi can train teachers, and in early that first 5 years, that is being mostly managed in rural India. It is mostly managed by single teachers or maximum 2 teachers. So sometimes teacher is also in charge headmaster or headmistress, or that kind of mechanism is very much there. So more and more parental engagement. There could be a first generation learner, but can we come up with certain activities which are easily digested by the parents and they can manage the show? So people talks about the learning outcomes. So learning outcomes, if a child is able to read any textual material, be it in the newspaper first of all, so parents को पढ़ के सुनाना है, कोई भी एक न्यूज आर्टिकल, उतना ही काफी है. तो लर्निंग आउटकम्स टेस्टिंग के लिए यू मे नॉट रिक्वायर ए साइंटिफिक रूब्रिक्स. उसको पढ़ के सुनाना है, तो दैट मीन्स हिज और हर रीडिंग एबिलिटी and pronouncing capability in mother tongue is first of all established. So that would be the first journey of equity or equitable society. Now comes the inclusive issues. So many a times, if we discussed with the parents about the different abilities of the child, and there is a phase of detections. So inclusivity does not means only we are referring that specially able child, but inclusive for inclusive growth, that whole school approach. So one agenda is how we can bring the parents, civil society together for inclusive growth of educations. And here, university, school, colleges, these are till date, to some extent, I'm sorry to mention, all disjoint entity. How we can create a coherent stage so that each can complement others. And if he talks about. So the second agenda would be how we can really collectively, and those 21st century skills, let me mention here, that collaboration skill, that collaboration somewhere, I think it is missing to larger extent. So one way, industrial growth, the top line economy, and school and college, I think despite of schools are supplier of the colleges, but usual notion is colleges don't look back to the school. So how that transitions and a positivity in the environment we can create, that is foremost required. And for that, my suggestion would be that faculty transitions. Faculty transition does not mean that that college teachers will come to the school and teach. And even if they take certain special class, what's the harm? As a parent, पूरा जाति स्कूल का द्वारा गुजरते हैं, पूरा जाति. We don't know कल कौन प्रधानमंत्री बनेंगे और कौन एक न्यूक्लियर साइंटिस्ट बनेंगे. तो स्कूल का जो करिकुलम एक्टिविटीज है, वहां पे इवन I would like to request the university professors, faculty members, आपका बच्चा भी तो कोई किसी ना किसी स्कूल में पढ़ रहा है. तो श्रमदान का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है, can you be associated with the school twice in a year? Okay, this particular Saturday or whenever you feel free, you inform the principal that on this day I'm going to discuss with you student certain about your future career or even your subject of expertise. I think that will create a positive atmosphere. So equity or inclusiveness हम मुंह से बोलने से ही नहीं होगा. I think it should be part of our day-to-day routine. And not only that, because there are a different kind of story. Let me highlight. There was one context where in the southern part of Italy, there were good number of intellectuals in early days, and somebody has written a book on. I was not able to recall the exact name of that philosopher. I'm sorry. So there is a book called Southern Questions. So despite of his ability and worldwide fame, his own area are not being so developed. Similarly, there are so many Indian literate peoples. उनका गांव का schools के लिए, including me, what is our contributions? So जो जिस schools में पढ़ा है, जो जिस गांव से आया है या शहर से आया है, can we have a mechanisms of maybe once in a year or once in a 5 year, even then, can we go there and contribute whatever way? I think that kind of strategy also to be there for all of us. Then a backward integrations is highly possible. I think vision is huge, but everyday functioning will create the history, and then only that equitable issues can be addressed. Third agenda would be, at any point of time, you can stop me because I don't know, Professor Ghosh, how much time I have to speak? Can you unmute and tell?
Sir, 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Around 35 minutes.
Okay. So अगर board लगे तो at any point of time you can stop me so that some interactive mode would be there. Otherwise,
No issue, sir. You can continue, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
So third issue I would like to address towards skilling, because if you look into the structure of schooling and college and university systems, policy talks about multidisciplinary approach of education. My question is how it is possible. So a few days back, AICT's approval process handbook simply mentioned that these are the possible subject combinations for pursuing engineering. And it was earlier also there, only physics and maths was a new inclusion in that optional list. Earlier it was a mandatory list. Now, how it has been interpreted by the civil society? The peoples are raising a voice, how engineering education is possible without physics and maths? Now, who are we to decide these things? Let the child decide. Let the university faculty member and university administrations and college administration decide what way to admit. So that mechanisms of interdisciplinary approach, if you look into the Western world or European country, these subject-specific requirements are not being analyzed in that spirit. So here, if there is a prerequisite for anything, if there is a scope to fulfill during his or her journey of engineering educations, or even for the sake of physics honors, if there is any prerequisite, that is highly possible. Let me put examples in a different dimension. The student who pursue physics, chemistry, maths, English at 10+2 level without any accountancy, economics knowledge, if they are not being offered BSc Physics honors, but they are eligible to take BCom honors, even BA History honors, our Indian universities are offering them very easily. So nobody is questioning about the competency and prerequisite for the history knowledge, accountancy knowledge, business studies knowledge. Then why it is we are questioning on for the other subjects? Can't we generalize? So 10+2, that last 4 years is a combined journey. There again, for the policymaker, my humble request would be that 5+3+3+4, and these 4, can we offer the various subjects combination, and each subject, suppose mathematics, can we offer in 3 levels, basic, medium, and advanced. Those students who are keen to pursue scientific research, let them take physics and maths advanced level. Those students who want to pursue BCom, let them take maths at middle level, business studies at advanced level, accountancy at advanced level. Similarly, for humanities group, those who want to pursue liberal arts, history and other subjects could be pursued at advanced level, and maths and any other subjects they can pursue at basic level. So that kind of structural changes is required. And the last agenda is from the very beginning, starting from class 1 or class 5, what kind of subject combinations we are offering. So more focus and examination and assessment are truly based on science, math, social science, and language. So our thought process, boundary, we are putting the student creativity in a parallel railway track. Beyond that, all co-curricular activities are differently assessed. So that means it is important for the parents, it is important for the educationist to think beyond that railway track. So that's why art integrations, sports, those things becomes futile just after class 8. The major focus of civil society and urban class is, okay, just after class 8, your focus is how you can secure high percentage in class 10 so that your subject choice is whatever we are deciding. And that परंपरा चलता रहता है यूनिवर्सिटी एडमिशन में भी. हम लोग तो दिल्ली में दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी का एडमिशंस is again a big basket issues for the entire nation. So parental educations के लिए उनको sensitize करने के लिए I think NEP का द्वारा and that policy transformation, that horizontal mobility, both horizontal mobility and vertical mobility, whatever subjects combinations you take during this last 4 years of school education, it does not mandate, or it should not mandate for university admission, you should have these subjects. For any subject combination you come, if there is any lacuna, there should be an assessment pattern. You appear that assessment pattern, these are your lacuna, okay, you have to earn certain credit on these subjects. And that flexible model of technology-based education, any university, any college, and I think Shyam and NPTEL and Diksha, all these initiatives need to be more enlarged and it should be showcased in a way, and that credit accumulations, they are already UGC and ICT has issued a guidelines that certain percentage through online is acceptable. Similarly, we are also planning to have certain percentage of online educations more vital for progressive development. So there is a huge learning loss or learning gap due to COVID and other issues that can be addressed very easily in future also. I think all those perspectives create a positive benchmark in the society, but it is still a document. Now, we have to internalize these things so that everyday affairs in school, everyday affair in college, and their transition. And the last component I'd like to highlight on assessment and examination. Because again, a same question paper by name of standardizations or by name of elimination process, whether it is competitive assessment or competitive examinations or universities be a final year assessment. So they are how that continuous assessment, their 21st century skill, how it could be the part of your curriculum transactions, that need to be discussed, that need to be brainstormed, so that ultimately child capability, whether they are capable to certain activities, and not only activities, the entrepreneurial mindset need to be created. No matter after that course, let them join somewhere as an intern or other affairs. So all those things need to be discussed and localized way with reference to the global issue, because we know our country's capability. At the same time, for the purpose of employment, I think different countries' perspectives also better we understand. Because with this policy, with this progressive policy, the other neighboring countries' requirement, European countries' requirement, especially in reference to the manpower, with specific skill they are aiming for in coming 10 years, I think university must focus upon that. And for that, any modular or short-term course or online course, that can be planned. And beyond 2 p.m., most of the university campus, most of the school campus with huge infrastructures are really lying idle. So many times we have requested many school management, university management, that how that sports capacity, how that computational capability can be extended to the neighborhood school and colleges. I think that kind of model, that cluster model, so school university could be one network and cluster, and your higher end resources, how you can expose to the student, that would be the part of our inclusive growth. So my humble request, that way for every university. So we are now discussing with Shobit University. So Shobit University and its multiple campus and neighborhood schools, how together you can join hand to complement each other, be it private schools, be it UP government schools, or be it any other tribal welfare schools, no issue. So industry collaborations with the university for their university graduate. At the same time, if you join hand in the school, if there are certain dropout, how can you cater, how can you put a different skill to them so that they are meaningful, and whenever they are requesting for any specific job market, तो वो अच्छी तरह उनको देखे. कोई एंटरप्रेन्योरियल जर्नी अगर एसोसिएट करना चाहते हैं, तो how as a university, as a leader of that area, can play a role of aggregator. So bank, industry, school, सबके लिए यूनिवर्सिटी एक दिशादारी बन सकता है. और वही चीज पॉलिसी डॉक्यूमेंट में हमको जो 15,000 मेंटर स्कूल्स कंट्री के लिए सोचा जा रहा है, 15,000 मेंटर स्कूल का साथ साथ from the side of the higher educations to the research foundations, research activity, and the university also play a key role. Colleges can play a key role in mentoring. And the last component, of course, it is not part of the NEP, but there is a huge resource pool of retired professional. So be it university professor, settled university professors from Delhi, settled in Bareilly or some other part of UP, आजकल खाली बैठे हैं. Can we rope in? Or similarly, retired principal or retired teachers of the schools. तो एक retired network का माध्यम से भी qualitative development में we must focus. So school, college, university and industry ecosystems में quality that is going to be matter for the future generation and future industry. So industry 4.0, or it may slowly transit to 5.0, but educations need to jump from education 2.0 to directly to 4.0, and similarly 4.0 to 5.0. I think this policy will help us to transit. So let us together focus upon all those areas. And if thank you very much. I think my time limit is over. So let me pause there and over to management of the university. And thank you very much. If there is any quick questions, I can take or else you can go with as per your flow. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Sir, this is Somprab Dubey, and I am working as a faculty member in the School of Business Studies and Entrepreneurship. And now I propose the concluding remark and vote of thanks. And I will propose the concluding remark on the basis of the detailed and elaborated deliberation that you have delivered today. And it was really, really very wonderful and knowledge providing, insightful deliberation. And that will certainly, sir, definitely it will enhance the knowledge of all the audience, faculty members, and all the audience who are joining the today's session. Sir, as far as the today's keynote speech is based on the on the basis of, we can say, the more of the execution and implementation part is very important. Because policy formulation is easy, but its proper implementation and proper execution, and not only the proper implementation and proper execution, but the execution or implementation should be very timely and very effective. So, and as far as the government is concerned, the budgetary allocation and budgetary provisions reflect that how the government of India is very keen and very serious for the proper and timely implementation of NEP 2020. And as far as you emphasized on the proper roadmap of the implementation of the policy. There must be a very strong roadmap, solid roadmap, and a proper vision that will provide that you talked about the activity-based learning, activity-based teaching, because if we will emphasize and if we will provide the activity-based teaching and activity-based education to the children, early childhood education, so children and students will enjoy more. There will be a participation of activities and some kind of activities, and along with the activities, if we will provide them education and teaching, they will enjoy more. And your recommendation is to visit the never had schools and colleges, because you emphasize that it is a very collective activity, and we have to make the collective efforts for the proper and effective execution of the NEP 2020. So certainly we shall follow your recommendation, your suggestion to visit the neighborhood schools and colleges. And you also focused on a multidisciplinary approach in terms of choosing the subject combination, and the standards of subjects should be elevated with the elevation of the classes. अगर हम जैसे जैसे स्टैंडर्ड बढ़ाएंगे वैसे वैसे सब्जेक्ट का कॉम्बिनेशन भी वेरी मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी होना चाहिए, लॉजिकल होना चाहिए, to equitable and inclusive education as far as the NEP 2020 is concerned. So finally, and also you have emphasized on the faculty development programs and faculty transition, faculty training, and lastly you emphasized on some modular courses and short-term courses for enhance the efficiency of teaching, and ultimately finally, and sure sir, short-term courses and modular will definitely increase the efficiency of the faculty members and academicians. And now finally sir, I propose my vote of thanks, and I extend my sincere thanks to you sir, that you have shared your views and opinion with us, and you shared your valuable time. And I extend my sincere thanks to our respected Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Ranjit Singh sir, our fellow speaker, Dr. Niladri Shekhar Ghosh, and all the audience for joining us. Thank you so very much, sir. And now the today's session comes to an end, and today's session has ended. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again, sir, on behalf of entire Shobhit family, sir.